No, I was just thinking about Astro City. Steeljack. It's my favorite character. I got too many comic books. I filled a 2 terabyte hard drive. How is that even possible? Over 17,000 books. It's time to trim the fat. I'm reading a Margaret Atwood comic book. It's not bad. Forebears. I'm gonna keep talking like this because I got 3 hours of sleep. And I feel like crap right now. Like that guy in that video that mom was watching. I feel like my heart gonna burst. Why am I out here? I earned this donut. I shouldn't have ate that cheesecake. My ears are numb. I got this. I shouldn't be out here. He said, you do 15 sets. Dude was just out there complaining. He was fired up a little bit. He was mostly just complaining though. I was like, that's me every day, every time. Most of the time I internalize it though. Today, not so much. Reading the website TV tropes, and I realize how insidious the website is. You go in there, you click on something because you heard about one thing, and then all of a sudden you have to sit there and read the entire language. TV tropes has its own verbiage, and it's massive. Like they would need they have a dictionary. They are a dictionary. What were they talking about? They were talking about network decay. Network decay when a television network or series tries a facelift and it works horribly. They completely lose their identity. And sometimes it works out, but the damage is done. Then I'm reading about the dork age. Okay, yeah, that was the dork age. The dork age is when your favorite TV show character or whatever band goes through a facelift, and it's a bad facelift, or it's a facelift they let them limp along a little bit longer. And they had a funny comment. They said your favorite band is in a dork age when you don't even realize that they're still releasing music. You're releasing albums. I kind of laughed because I remember that. I was like, yeah, it's like, that guy's still making music? Been doing it for decades. I was like, oh. Yeah, but he changed the sound. Oh, okay. How did DJ Quick put it? Going to the same place, putting on the same face. Only realize that y'all ain't got the same tastes. It's a good song, 50 Ways. Anyway, I'm gonna ramble like the crazy person that I am. Still don't get what that guy said today. He said I was a legend. I didn't know how to take that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like I said, it still spooks me that people watch what I'm doing. Not just on YouTube, but just in this neighborhood. They gotta know I'm crazy. Well, they think I'm crazy. They gotta think that. I think I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. This is not normal. Even if it wasn't for the talking to myself, it's just the fact that I'm out here. It's too damn hot. Love listening to the cicadas though. Then I'm grumpy complaining about all the people driving around and breathing in all this bad air. I think I got COPD. Oh well. You only live once, right? Was it YOLO? Let's get some of that toxic air. I love me, man. I love me some carbon monoxide. That shit gets you high. Well, that would suck. All these years of working out, I can't kill myself with carbon monoxide because I'm immune to it. I was like, I put the tailpipe in the window and it didn't do a damn thing. It just put me to sleep. I'm in the hospital. They're studying me. This man's completely immune to carbon monoxide. Next you know, they're writing friggin' papers on me. The suicide forums hate me. Bastard took away a method for us. What was that joke? It was a dark comedy thing. The guy said he was trying to commit suicide with a carbon monoxide. Only he didn't realize that he was he had an electric vehicle or something like that. It was two. The guy was trying to commit suicide, and he forgot that he had an electric vehicle. And then there was the other one where the new cars are so light on pollution that it didn't produce enough carbon monoxide for him to do the job. So there you go, environmentalism saving lives. Meanwhile, I got this burn on my arm. What is this? It's eczema. I have no idea what's causing it. I'll eat some peanut butter tonight and see if that's what's causing it. If it is, yet another thing to get excited about, right? I'll just keep eating peanut butter even if it causes me skin rashes. If it swells up my throat shut, then that's a good way to go. Death by peanut butter. I couldn't think of a better way. Okay, well, death by snoo and peanut butter is pretty good too. Sometimes I'm wondering, death by snoo, what killed the guy first? Was it the shattered pelvis or the fatigue? I gotta believe it was fatigue. I think the shattered pelvis kind of slowed him down, but it didn't really stop him. I think human males are kind of like insects in that regard. You could chop off a guy's head and he'd still be humping away. The walking guy. Yeah, baby. Well, good evening to you too. My, these people is never so friendly, I must say. Ed Grimley is no longer the joke. Ed Grimley is writing the jokes. Reading about Joe Murray and his time with Nickelodeon making Rocko's Modern Life. And then the disaster that was Cartoon Network. I can't even remember. It was. I started watching Rocko's Modern Life, but I can't remember if I was in high school. No, I was in high school because we were renting games, and they had a Rocko Modern Life video game. But what I didn't know, well, learned later, the video game came before the show even came out. The music was pretty good. I remember that in the video game. It's kind of cool. The game was annoying. The show, now that's legendary. The animation, what do they call it? They call it the animation age ghetto. And all they meant was a time period where they thought cartoons were for kids. In the 60s and 70s, they were trying to challenge that notion. Actually, even earlier than that. Walt Disney just wanted to make, he was making cartoons that were supposed to be for everybody. But the stereotype or the stigma was that cartoons for kids. And I'm fortunate enough to have lived in a time period where they didn't stop making cartoons for kids. They started making them for the adults that were watching them when they were kids. I'm living in a wonderful time for animation. I was bootlegging Rick and Morty. Loved it. I wasn't a fan of Family Guy when it first came out, but it does have its moments. Watched tons of Simpsons up until a certain point. And yeah, I guess even the Simpsons is maybe going through a dork age. I didn't know they were still making episodes of the show. So, does that technically mean it's a dork age? But they were never going to run out of material to talk about. South Park's still going. You want to go psychotic? Binge watch South Park. Okay. Howdy. I'll have to go on the torrent sites and see if I can get me a copy of Duckman. And see if it was as good as I remembered it. That's what kind of turned me off about political correctness. Was there would be times where I was watching there'd be times I'd be watching an old show and I realized, I was like, oh, you can't say that anymore, you can't do that anymore, and I was like going through the thought police. Pretty good graffiti. But I started feeling like, I don't know what book I was reading. I don't know if that was 1984 or somebody was making fun of the communists or whatever, but it was like they said, yo, you can't say that. That's a counter-revolutionary statement, comrade. And that's what it starts feeling like with political correctness. I think I've said this before. You were using a term, you didn't think much of it. One person got offended, suddenly nobody can say it anymore. Crazy is now a word you can't use anymore. You can't use crazy or stupid. And I was like, wait, what? Well, people get offended by the C word. I was like, the C word? Which C word? The CR word. Which CR word? We got two of those too. And they make it to the point where political correctness is so pervasive, we only speak in a series of grunts. You can't say that grunt anymore. That grunt's considered too harsh by some people. People are meowing. You can't meow anymore. That offends people with cat allergies. Ah! Thing about a Patton Oswalt sketch. Well, he was talking about where the guy was completely politically correct, but his statement was bigoted, racist, whatever you want to call it. Like, he used all the correct buzzwords and still came out with an offensive statement. And the way Patton Oswalt said it, it was George Carlin level good. In its satire. He says, take these two statements and figure out which one is the more offensive. He was talking like a redneck guy, talking about how he thought, you know, he says, I don't have any problem with two faggots getting married or something like that. He said, whereas the other guy says, well, I do appreciate your such and such, such and such, such and such. The guy was for gay marriage, but he used a politically incorrect statement, therefore he is admonished. Whereas the other guy used uses the political terms to state that he's against gay marriage. And somehow, well, everybody has the right to believe. Wait, what? You think about this stuff all the time? I try not to. So he got those panels. Those must be 220 watt panels. And he got them east. No, I'm traveling north. That's northbound. This is westbound. He's got them on his south facing wall and the east facing. He did that himself. Those are 100 watt panels. Yeah, those are those are 100 watt panels. Well, maybe 100, 200, 200. Anyway, got them pitched up at 30 degrees. That's the south facing. The telephone pole creates a shadow. Oh, he's got them on the east wall too. Okay. I mean the west wall too. All right. Well, I hope he's got microinverters or optimizers. String inverter with optimizers. That's probably what he's got. Anyway, that wasn't going to be me. I was only going to get him on one part, the south, and it couldn't justify paying. The guy was talking about, we put 36 panels on your roof. Can you? Anyway, was gonna get it done. Getting ready to pull the trigger. Resigned myself to getting lighter in the wallet by about 15, 20 grand. And then I started reading comments on Energy Sage, and it was like, they said, hey, we got a system that, and it says covers 25 to 50% of their usage. I said, why would they get that much? So what people were doing was they'd get a quote from the Energy Sage, get the company to come in, put the solar panels on the house, and then sell the house. And then pocket the rebate. They were using solar panels to pump up the price of a house. And it was working for them. And that's when I came to the sobering realization that program wasn't meant for me. When Obama sat there and signed that, that was for his arugula-eating, $100,000 left-wing liberal elites. The dudes that are completely out of touch with the people that they say they're trying to help. The reason I say that is because they made it a tax credit, a non-refundable tax credit. You make $100,000, you pay $30,000 for the panel, it's not going to be that much of a problem for you. You got so much taken out in taxes, you'll get your rebate back, guaranteed. You own property, investments, and that adds up to enough for you to claim that credit. Whereas if you're a working class schlub making less than about $70,000 a year, you might own the property, but you didn't get enough taken out in taxes to where you can get that credit that year. So you have to do it for multiple years. And you can only do it for 2 years max. And then there was the fact that I lived here in Texas. And based on our rates, I wasn't going to make that money back, and it was going to take longer than a decade for me to make any money back, if I made any back at all. And then I was looking at the guy who he put up the solar panels. He put 220 watt panels on his, paid $10,000 for it. He said, you know, he said in 10 years later they come out with bigger panels. And he was basically saying it was pretty smart what he was doing. He got just enough solar panels to where it would keep him out of tier 2 pricing in San Diego, where the rates are just insanely high. But even he said he wouldn't recommend it for everybody. He was like, you know, there's a certain point where you're buying these things and then 10 years later you're going to be buying them, or 10 years later they come out with better ones. Bottom line is I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until someday some guy says for $10,000 I can give you a system that will easily cover your energy needs for this house. That's when solar is going to arrive. When it costs, like when it's about the same price as the kitchen remodel, people will have it done. Brave. But right now, a solar system that will cover your house the right way will cost you about as much as a luxury car. Still can't justify it. Not quite there yet. I'm saying $10,000. Somebody said, that's too low. Well, you never make me money off of that. I was like, look, man, I don't know what to tell you. Milk cows can't afford half the stuff that you guys are sitting there putting out there. Cars are too expensive. The houses are too expensive. The medical procedures are too expensive. Food's getting too expensive. Kids are a luxury item. Like, I don't know if somebody's actually crunched the numbers and figure out what the return on investment is of having children. Pets aren't even pets aren't even that cheap. Driving costs you about $5,000 a year. This is a necessity. $5,000 a year. I'm thinking that for you to have and maintain a car. It's insurance, maintenance, fuel, anything else. Oh yeah, registrations, government stuff. $5,000 a year at least. Whereas if you had a good mass transit system, you probably, the most you'd pay is about, I want to say $250 a year. You get your yearly bus pass and then whatever else might come up. Can you imagine that? If you can make that kind of saving? Instead of paying $5,000 a year, they have to drive everywhere. You can pay $250 a year and just take public transportation. $5,000 a year in a decade, that's 50 grand. 20 years is 100 grand. $100,000. Things an average citizen can do that kind of money. Anyway. Find myself having to get a lot of things fixed and want to buy a lot of things, and too often suffering from sticker shock. And I'm not cheap. This stuff is just too expensive. Am I going Northwest Highway? Yes. Yeah, I'm not even walking today. I'm just going through the motions. And the grim, dark future of humanity. There's always war. Or how does the phrase go? There's constant war. War is constant, something like that. Warhammer. I don't know much about tabletop gaming. I just now figured out that the company that made Shadowrun also made the Mech Warrior series. Then I'm reading about how Games Workshop damn near killed the goose that was laying the golden egg. I'm not going to become a tabletop gamer. I don't have time for that. I bought a gun and I don't have time to shoot it. I buy video games and I don't play. Well, okay, I've been playing them a little bit. I buy books I don't read. You get suckered into that shit too. It's like you're watching, there's the Humble Bundle. They keep selling the stuff that'll make you a better person. I'm gonna get this thing, I'm gonna cook all these recipes. I'm gonna buy all these books and I'm gonna learn foreign languages. I'm gonna buy these programming books and I'm gonna become the shit at programming. You buy them and then you either download them or you don't. And you got this huge collection of stuff you'll never read. Before I got fastidious about this, you get a gym membership, use it for about a week, and then just never go back again. You're wasting money. But you didn't want to tell yourself you're wasting money. No, if I cancel it, then I won't work out. I'll just wait, you know. I'll just have wasted money. Even if you go to a gym, you're wasting money. I'm wasting money with 24-hour fitness. And I hate commercial gyms anyway. I never realized how good I had it in high school until now. How intimate a workout setting could be. How I had a quiet gym all to myself. And all I did was lift. I had a monastic existence in high school that translated into a hermetic lifestyle in adulthood. That's what I miss about high school. I miss having those beautiful, quiet moments. To do what I wanted to do. High school was so easy. The only thing I hated was getting up in the morning. Like how easy will high school be in the future for these kids? They won't even have to get up out of the bed and go to the class. It'll just be, here's your homework, log into the computer whenever you get a chance, and complete it. And then it'll be like, if they have to do something, they'll be in services. You know, there's an exam you got to come in for once a month. You have to do your physical, you have to do your PT certification every week or something like that. Just to make sure the kids are out there still rolling around a little bit. That'll be their PE requirement. They'll be doing what I'm doing. Walk around the neighborhood, make a note of it. Post your workout videos online and your teacher will test it, you know, will check. Or maybe not workout videos, but it'll be, you know, they'll probably have watches or something that are subsidized, and the watch makes sure that you keep with your schedule. It has a pedometer built into it and a bunch of other gadgets and apps. I mean, other than trying to force, I guess, structure on the kids, they really don't need to come in for school anymore. Like my last few years of college, lectures were completely unnecessary. I had the teacher that had been there for 100 years, and all this idiot did was read out of the book. I was like, I can do that. Give me that $100,000 they're paying you, and I can do this job. I was like, I can read a book. I don't need, you know, I don't need a grown-ass man reading a book to me. That's all they were doing. I had one dude, I even pointed it out. I was like, man, this is death by PowerPoint. He laughed. Just kept going. He didn't realize that somebody had taken his PowerPoint slides and had posted them online. And yet the state of Texas says, you got to be here for perfect attention. The guy sits there and takes attendance before every class. I was like, seriously? I was like, we're kids now? You got to take attendance? You got to do roll call? Dumb. Just dumb, man. It was just one of those things that, one of those lost faith built bricks, building a wall of lost faith. It's just scary to think that some of the best classes I ever had in the world were not in a formal classroom. Some of my greatest teachers taught Sunday school. I paid $3 grand for a guy to read off of a photocopier, or off of a, what was the name of that stupid thing? Overhead projector. I paid nothing except a little time and some itchy clothes to go listen to an ex-Vietnam vet rap about the Bible. Respected. I honestly can say that, man. I spent $3,000 a semester and didn't learn a goddamn thing at UTD. I spent a fraction of that, a tenth of that, at the community college, and I learned everything. And like I said, some of my deepest classes were not formal classes that I could have got for credit. A lot of mentors that taught me how to survive and how to think critically and how to question everything. None of that I picked up from college. I'm trying to think of what useful thing I learned from UTD. I mean, I learned a little bit about integrated circuits, logic gates. All the foundation I picked up in the community colleges of Richland College. By the time I got to the university level, they were just rehashing stuff. I did have one good teacher out there though. That was the math teacher, my statistics teacher. From Russia. Cool guy. All my professors were interesting people anyway. I mean, from the community college level, not so much the university level. Dr. Page is unforgettable, but not for good reasons. He was a cool guy to hang out with, but man, I would never take another class with him though. Basically, it's like if Chuck Noll was your professor. And for those who know about Chuck Noll, that's kind of a funny statement. You know, everyone talks about Chuck Noll. He's just a great Steeler coach. You know, they went to all these Super Bowls. He must have been a genius. And then you hear his players, and it was like Chuck would say stuff, and we didn't understand a word he was saying, and then we just went on and did our thing. It's just one of the, you had a lot of professors like that where you succeeded in spite of them, not because of them. What Ivor Page is good for, these pants are getting old, man. What Ivor Page was good for was if your learning style, you needed the whip, he was the whip. If you need somebody on your ass, if you need somebody berating you, Dr. Page was your man. But if you needed understanding or a good explanation, that's not where you go. For those things, you were on your own. And then there's other teachers I had that when they talked, it was like they were clearing fog away, man. It was like they had the magical ability to just reach their hands out and fog would clear. Pardon me? And that was my teacher for organization and programming languages. His name I can't remember because it was difficult to pronounce. I can't remember any names. The only reason I can remember Dr. Page is because for some strange reason, I looked at him, I thought he was, seriously, for a minute I thought I was in a joke. It was a joke class, and I thought he was secretly Michael Palin. I thought Michael Palin is doing a reality TV show where he's teaching computer science at a Texas university. I was like, what's the gag here? I kept expecting him to take off his fake beard and mustache, and it was like he'd be Michael Palin from Monty Python. He looked just like him. I was like, is that Michael Palin? I kept clicking. I was like, no, that's Ivor Page. He just happens to look like Michael Palin. I was like, oh, okay. Well. But yeah, after the class, I'm having these weird conversations with him about telomeres and how I was jogging and working out and losing weight. And he's like, yeah, I wish I can do that. was like, okay. Put one foot in front of the other, Doc. He was a cool cat though, like with the high school kids. You know, really respected. It's just that I didn't particularly dig him as a professor. He got on us one day, it was just about, you guys get to this level, you're supposed to be able to write compilers all on your own. I just don't understand it. It's like, you can't even do this basic stuff. And he was just going off like that for 15 minutes. And I said, hey, I said, one of your fellow, I said Englishmen or Britishmen or something like that. I said, he was sitting there saying that we got to learn from failure. I was talking about Dyson. He just kind of gave me this blank stare and just went on to his lecture. I was like, I don't give a shit. I was like, I paid $3,000. I can say pretty much what I want. You want to flunk me, flunk me. But I guarantee you, I'll make you sorry that you ever did it. I'll make you rue the day you locked horns with me. But a lot of my professors, it was just, man. Like I said, the one dude just read verbatim out of the book. Said we were going to have an open book test. And I failed the open book test. Because he pulled these answers. It was, the questions were just like, what is he asking me for here? He had a really thick accent, never wrote anything on the board. From China, really thick Chinese accent, never wrote anything on the board, and just pulled photocopies of the book out and put them on top of the overhead projector and just read from them. And I thought, this guy is useless. That was, what was the name of that class? That was my digital logic class. I made an A in the labs, made a C in the class because I failed the final exam, which was open book. I'm thinking to myself, that never happened before. Got hundreds on all the homeworks, did all the quizzes, failed the final exam. Because I looked at that and I said, I was like, what is this? I was like, we didn't study any of this. Anyway, what was his name? His name was Gygax, I think? Geiger? I can't remember his name. His son was deaf. And he was, what the hell's going on here? Never a dull moment, man. His son was deaf and he was getting a cochlear implant from the Collier Center. And he would tell us all these cool things about how deaf kids learn languages. And how the cochlear implant worked. And how his son couldn't hear tones, but he could hear sound. I mean, he could hear the sound, but he couldn't hear different tones. So he couldn't get pitches. Everything to him just sounded like ah, 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 ah. Or you hear ah, ha, 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 ha. All he would hear is ah, 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 ah. Shit, I can't even remember the name of the guy with the bad throat. Our bird page did teach me one thing though. Like I said, he taught me how to pronounce the name of Leonard Euler. I said, Euler, what about Euler's rule? He says, you know, ever since I came to this state, and I was like, I never heard anybody say it. It's like you guys all say it wrong. It's not Euler, it's Euler. I was like, oh, sorry. It's like, how are we supposed to know? Looks like we don't live next door to the French like you did. Pretty sure that's probably how that happened to him too. It was like they were saying Euler or something over there. Some French Frenchman. Oh, you stupid Brits. It's not pronounced, it's oily. Man, when I was in the community college, they had some fun cats. The lady with the she had an English last name, but she was Russian. So I guess she married a white guy, or I mean a American guy. Then there was the Egyptian tank commander. He was telling me how long when he was serving. I said, "Oh," I said, "You were around during the 6-Day War," and he waved his hands like, "Don't talk about that." And I was like, "Oh, excuse me, sorry." he did not want anybody to know what was going on. I had the Palestinian chemistry teacher. Was it chemistry or biology? Her degree was in nuclear physics, and she was not allowed to talk about anything that she may have worked on in the past or her Bottom line, is a crazy place. The Spanish teacher that disparaged the Mexicans. The gym teacher that had his own clothing line. He taught me the 5x5, and that's how I work out ever since. 5 reps, 5 sets. I learned how to jog in community college. Learned Tai Chi, Vietnamese, a little Japanese before I had to drop the class because I got a new job. But no, I'll be bitter for the rest of my life. It's just one of, like I said, it's because that's why I got the wall of lost faith. I lost 20 years, man. 20 years because I had to pay my own way. You pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and walk while everyone else drives. Some guy would be patting me on the back, "Oh, your hard work and perseverance, and it paid off, didn't it?" And I was like, "No, I'm suicidal and I can't afford anything." That's not success. That's getting by. I was like, you guys are fucking annoying. He's like, you sit there and tell people it's okay to get by. It's not. We should strive for more than that. Well, in the rest of the world, I don't give a damn about the rest of the world. The rest of the world made its bad decisions, it's paying for it. But this country is supposed to be the beacon of good decisions. And it's time it starts making some.